That's okay.
Chair Kelly Cochran,
Here.
co-chair Jeff Craig,
Present.
Commissioner Chris Gould, Commissioner Erica Bartholomew, Commissioner Dan Swanson,
Here.
Commissioner Joe Messenger,
Here.
Commissioner Tom Bush.
Present.
Thank you. Chris called me earlier this week and said that he probably will not make it tonight, and he didn't. So can I get someone to excuse Chris, please?
Did we hear from Eric?
Anybody in the office here from America? No?
No, okay. Madam Chair, I move that we excuse Commissioner Rules as he notified us in advance.
Tom Bush, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried. The public may attend this meeting virtually via the platform Zoom by clicking the link above or by telephone or in person at City Hall. Moving right on to the agenda, is there anything on the agenda that needs to be removed or changed, addition?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Craig, hearing nothing from any of my compatriots, move the agenda be adopted as printed. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried. Public comments. Comments may be made to the Planning Commission Secretary Danielle Churchenko, which will be hard, at clerk at cityofording.org by 1 p.m. on the day of the meeting and will be read into the record at the next meeting. In case of a question, the chair will refer the matter to the appropriate administrative staff member. Comments that come in after the deadline will be read into the record at the next Planning Commission meeting. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to make public comment at this time? Mr. Kiesig.
Hey, gentlemen, my name is Dave Kiesig. I know some of you, known some of you for years, but I lived at 19605, 153rd Avenue East in Worthing, which is up the hill, kind of out of town. But I've been involved with the community a little bit off and on over the years. And I've been involved with the Soldiers Home, which is a fairly large institution in the city for about 21 years at this point. I'm the state ombudsman out there, and among the facilities that I do, I've been going there for the veterans that are there during that period of time. And that's what brings me here tonight. Over the years, I've kind of bothered the city a little bit, maintaining sidewalks to try so that the guys that are in electric wheelchairs can come back and forth. And at this time, I'm here for a little different purpose, and that is to just kind of feel out the city a little bit about how they would feel about possibly allowing some shelters to be placed in a couple of different places between the Soldiers Home and the downtown area. No real design has been put, but I'm trying to give you an idea of, oftentimes you see bus stop type things around Tacoma and West of Pierce County, which are kind of glass enclosure that would hold probably 1 or 2 people in a motorized wheelchair should they be caught out in weather. And they also could be served as school bus stops in the city as well. But the proposal initially was to kind of run along Calistoga from the Soldiers Home to the park area. And possibly 2 or 3 of those is the idea. Funding for them would probably come from the community itself, not so much from the city, although once they were established, then the main property from the city. And I realized that there also would have to be probably easements from the property owners of the particular spots that went there. So this is just kind of a preliminary idea out, if you would, to you folks, because you folks kind of influence the city council on things that should or shouldn't be built, how they should be and what they should look like and that type of thing. So I'm here basically, I thought that the superintendent Soldiers Home would be here tonight, but both of us have been kind of crossing swords today, so. He didn't make, and I told him if he couldn't make it, it's fine, I'd be here, but that's kind of it. And I just thought I'd throw it out for ideas and see if you have any questions for me and then kind of go from there. It's probably pretty simple.
Commissioners, any questions, comments?
Comments? I think it's a great idea. There is sufficient right of way width on Calistoga that they could be well built within the existing street right of way. There would not be any private property rights needed.
That would make it a lot simpler. I'm used to dealing with things all over the county, and so as a general rule, you've got somebody's property in mind, whether it be the city or somebody else. But the plan at the Soldiers Home seems to be that there's more and more mechanicalized veterans that can get around. And to get them to be able to get in and out of the city, and especially since Pierce Transit isn't providing services down here for the most part. It's very difficult for a lot of the folks to get anywhere other than in transportation from Soldiers Home. Although there is a little bit of that start.
Dave, have you spoke with the school to see if you could coordinate where their bus stops are on Calistoga?
I haven't yet. I'm just kind of feeling out from the beginning. I started this with the resident council at the Soldiers Home, and of course, they're all for it. And I'm aware that Lowe's, I believe it was Lowe's or Home Depot, one of those people have donated some things to the Soldiers Home at this time that might be preliminarily used, at least for initial one on the actual campus itself. So that's kind of where it's kind of starting out and pushing forward.
Likewise, Arrow Lumber has been extremely supportive of community activities that needed support.
You know, being honest about it, I'm the type of guy that goes out and hits up Arrow Lumber and Safeway and places like that to step up, I guess is the way I want to put it. You don't get anywhere unless you ask. I've been involved with, over the lifetime, I've been involved with a number of areas where I've done that pretty well.
Even we're at the eve of the farmers market starting up again, and there might be something to think about of putting up, getting a spot there donated and putting up a table to gather donations from the community to help fund that.
Sure.
Because the funding, of course, probably is going to be your most difficult hurdle to overcome. I too think it's a great idea. When in years past, mobility of people was in a wheelchair. No one's going to wheelchair from Soldiers Home to downtown, or very few would. Now that electric mobility is so much more affordable, I can see it becoming more and more commonplace.
I've actually been shocked at how far some of these guys have gone.
Yeah.
In mechanized wheelchairs and of course it poses obstacles for them. So at any rate, that's all I really wanted to do was kind of see where you all would go on it and push your input goes to the city and once it gets a little more detailed plan, I guess we probably approach the council about it. So
Mark, do you have any suggestions for Mr. Kisick?
At this point, I think it sounds like a great idea. Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate your time.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much. I'll get out of here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience that isn't already on the agenda? Nope. Moving on, approval for the minutes of January 5th.
Go back in the way back. machine.
I know, that
Whatever they are, make a motion to approve them.
remembers what we said back then.
And well, I checked my notes and they look good to me, so I'm gonna second that motion.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Joe and Jeff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried. Moving right along, architectural design review, ADR 2026-03, Domino's signage. Shauna, oh, Kim, are you gonna do the staff report?
I'm gonna take the staff reports.
Okay,
You're gonna, since she blasted off, you,
I'm gonna
Take
do
it
my
all.
best. Nobody can do what Danielle can do, but we're gonna try. The first item on the agenda tonight is the ADR signage application for the new Domino's in town that took place or took over the tenant space that used to be held by Pizza Hut. The applicant is proposing new permanent signage for the Domino's to be located there. The sign is going to be 37 square feet in total, and the building frontage is 550 square feet. And so the proposed wall sign would be within the allowed 10% dimension. The sign is constructed of 1/4-inch aluminum attached to 1-inch thick batten board via studs, standoffs, and silicone. The sign is comprised of a company logo using company colors, intense blue and red and white satin. And then the end caps of the sign, when viewed from the side, would be in a Renwick rose beige color. Ramsey Signs is the sign builder and the installer. There will be no internal illumination of the sign, and all other architectural components of the structure and tenant space will remain as exists today. We've reviewed this application against the germane standards of the municipal code sign regulations and recommend that the planning commission approve the sign permit for Domino's.
thank you, Kim. Commissioners, questions? I have one. On their drawing, it doesn't show, is their sign just square, rectangular, or is there any other shape to it?
I think it's just rectangular. Yeah. The sign components are fixed onto that board, and then the board has that rosewood color from the side, and then it's all attached to the tenant space.
Okay,
it looks like it's domed.
well, actually, no, that's the architecture of the building.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I said, oh, are they gonna match the dome above the trim on the building? And so that's why I thought maybe that's what they were gonna. Yeah, I didn't understand how they were doing that.
Mm.
In fact, it was either that or individual letters, and I couldn't, and it didn't read that way, so I wasn't sure. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a bit more telling if you look at the end view on their plans, because you can see the 1/4-inch
Yeah, it's
thick
a little bit
aluminum.
away from the
Yeah,
wall.
okay.
But sometimes, we've had some of them. Well, even Herpes Burgers next door, their burger is individual letters. And I think, didn't they do that at Ording, the Jackpot?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was individual letters. So, yeah, I just wasn't sure. Shows you how long I've been here. Okay.
Week and a half.
Yeah, some days, yeah. Okay. Any more questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Craig, I move approval of ADR 2026-3 for Domino's as submitted.
Commissioner Bush, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried. Next item on our agenda, ADR 2026-01, 130th Avenue Northwest remodel.
Transmission shop.
Yeah, it used to be known as the transmission shop. It's
Old
also been known as
transmission
a whole bunch of
shop.
other things, too.
Sure. Yeah, the old transmission shop is back and getting a big remodel. The facility has been recently bought by the Rakos family, who had previously been operating their business, JJ Plumbing, out of a tenant space, I believe in Auburn. And they decided that they wanted to be able to establish roots more permanently in their hometown. And so have decided to be able to buy 130 Corin. And so are the new owners of 130 Corin and are looking to be able to remodel the facility to better take care of their needs for JJ Plumbing to be able to operate there. This is a full ADR application that's been submitted for a remodel of the structure. The applicant has submitted an application that includes the project description, colored elevations, landscape materials, and an address of the criteria of approval for an ADR. The application itself is limited to just remodeled architectural components. The roof forms and any of the actual footprint of the building itself is not changing. This is architecturally featured to things like siding, windows, doors, materials, colors, things of that nature. Siding will consist of horizontal cement lap siding at the base of each facade at a height of approximately 2 feet from the foundation of the building. Board and batten vertical siding would be installed elsewhere along each facade, ranging in width from 16 inches on center to 24 inches. The color of the lap siding and board and batten will be Sherwin-Williams peppercorn, which is similar to the colors Tancred gray and burnished pewter from our historic color fan deck that we allow downtown. The building would also be trimmed with wood cornices, which a mountain ash color stain would be applied to. There will be new or replaced garage-style door, roll-up doors, on the west, east, and north facades of the building. And the Sherwin-Williams color Cityscape, which is a lighter gray tone, would be used on that to complement the darker base gray tone of the building. All other existing doors would be replaced with aluminum-clad wood frame doors with trimmed glass pane. All windows in their trim will be replaced as a part of this remodel. The applicants expressed a willingness to incorporate a grid design in the windows to create an appearance of vertically oriented paned windows. A 6-foot tall wood fence would be installed at the property line along the existing parking lot. In select areas, the fence would be installed interior to the property line to afford enough room to install planter boxes along its exterior, and then those would be filled with some nice perennials and lavender, oregano, rosemary. Exterior lighting would be installed and fixtures would be wall mounted, powder coated, and the bulb would be shielded. And then if you look on the next page of my staff report, I give an analysis of the germane components standards of the ADR standards that this project was reviewed against and found the project to be consistent with each of those standards. This project is held against the standards related to the relationship of the building to the site and the adjoining area, and then the building design itself. So I gave some discussion about how it is that the proposal offers a pleasing contrast and color to the adjoining structures and borrows on the same use of board and batten that's employed at Business Solutions and then also at D&D. And so it offers a nice interest to the streetscape in bold colors and varying siding materials. The applicant proposes to incorporate the use of planter boxes that'll give a nice sort of transition from the pedestrian space to the business and contribute to the facilitation of pedestrian movement. And then in terms of the building design, certainly the remodel is in keeping with our architectural design theme, turn of the century, Western or Victorian. They propose to use dimensional lumber or hardy lap and board and batten, each of which are allowed in our ADR standards. All the construction will occur on site. The front facade will be the south facade facing Corin. And the front facade, all of the prominent features that are used on the front facade will be carried out through use on all the other facades, creating a nice consistency between the entire structure's remodel. Some of the windows right now are proposed to be rectangular with molding and trim, and others are proposed to be more horizontally oriented. I spoke with the owner of the building and explained to her that our design regulations typically call for a more paned, vertical styled window, and she's conveyed a willingness to be able to incorporate that at the pleasure of the Planning Commission into the design to make it more in keeping with our aesthetic. The colors that have been selected are consistent with our accepted color palette. And so the staff is recommending that the Planning Commission approve the requested ADR at 130 Corin for JJ Plumbing and has recommended a few conditions of approval to be considered by the Planning Commission for incorporation. One is that a sign permit for the eventual business be applied for. The other is that the applicant will need to move through a site plan review process, a separate application process with the Community Development Department, which he's already applied for. The applicant shall incorporate that grid pattern in the windows and then shall make sure that the spacing on center between all of the board and batten is at least 18 inches, which is more consistent than some of the 12-inch spacing that's proposed right now. If there's any questions of the Planning Commission, I'm here, and also Jessica Rakos, who's the owner of the building and the business, is here tonight.
Great. Planning Commissioners, questions?
Well, I'm looking at the plans. I'm actually really thrilled to see that, somebody's, taken an interest in this building and, given it a really good facelift. I really like the design and the color scheme. I think it looks really nice. No, it's, buildings and, it needs some TLC, that's for sure. And, I'm happy to see that happen.
Looks good.
Great. Jeff?
I think it's great, and I agree with the staff recommendations 1 through 4. But yeah, it's going to be good to have that building rehabbed and put back into actual functionality.
Joe, you have any questions or comments?
Nope, no, thank you.
Do you?
I always have a question.
I know, but somebody had to ask you.
On the property, the empty lot between you and D&D, is that what you're considering the parking and you're talking about? That's where you're gonna put the fencing? And is the fencing going to be along the sidewalk, so it blocks off the entire, that fenced in area? Okay. And when you're talking about the planters, are you talking about planters in front of that and then in front of the building on Corin?
Right, the line, and that's why we're setting the fence back just a bit to
Oh.
allow space for those planters
Okay.
and not encroach over into city.
Okay, awesome. I too am amazed. I can't believe you can take this kind of a design and turn it into something that we're actually going to be proud to look at. That the building actually, that piece of property, the history, there has been something working on that piece of property since the incorporation of this town. It started out as the Stevenson lumber mill, and they had and there was a lumber and then it turned into a hardware store and a hardware store and lumber yard, and then that all burnt down in the late 40s. And this building was built, I think, in 49 or 50, and then just kept adding on to it. That's why it looks like that with all the, yeah.
Two, moved away temporarily while we were building our house, and have been in our house since 2007, raised all our babies here, and so we're really excited. It's gonna be a much better commute than North Auburn.
Awesome. Yeah, I love your design. I love the colors. I noticed you're putting some sort of a pediment on Corin in front, to give it a little bit more design. Yeah, the way it sits right now, it's kind of like a box sitting in front of a building, which is. So yeah, I'm thrilled with what you're doing. I think it looks awesome. And yeah, some grids in the windows and we're good to go.
Thank you for investing in hoarding.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
absolutely.
You're making hoarding a better place.
Definitely.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Craig, after the comments by my compadres, I would move approval of ADR 2026-01, the JJ Plumbing remodel of the building at 130 Corin, with the conditions of the applicant separately applying for and being issued a sign permit for the permanent signage, and the site plan review permit, which I understand is in progress, the incorporation of the grid pattern in its windows, and the board and batten at a width no greater than 18 inches on center as recommended in the staff recommendations.
Dan Swanson, second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried. Congratulations. Thank you so much for your work. ADR 2026-02-519 Harmon Fuel Station and Apartments.
I'll take this one too, Chair.
Before we start on that, I do need to disclose that I share a property line with this business and hold 22.5 feet. But I sincerely believe that I can be impartial and objective as far as, this ADR part goes. But I just wanted to make sure everyone knew that I do have that. And if anyone objects to that, then we can vote on it. Hearing no
Madam
objection.
Chair, Commissioner Craig, I hear no objection to that which you have disclosed, so proceed.
Kim, please read us the staff recommendation.
Will do. Okay, Planning Commission has been briefed on this project already, but it's formally here for its ADR. So just as a reminder, this is for the vacant lot next to L&M. The property is under the same ownership as the owner of L&M. He owns both lots. And so this vacant portion is going to be what is under development as proposed for a fuel station with apartments upstairs. And as a reminder to the Planning Commission as well, this is just the ADR. The applicant will be required to move through SEPA and a site plan review. And so the focus for tonight with this project is related only to the design review consistency, and then other matters that might be of concern with things like layout and SEPA mitigation and things like that are going to be worked out, but later during those processes. Okay, I'm going to dive into my staff report now. The applicant is proposing to develop a vacant lot with a new fuel station and an associated convenience store with 2 apartment units upstairs. The project would include a 6-bay fuel station for passenger vehicle use. An overhead canopy would be constructed above each fuel bay. A 3,200 square foot 2-story structure would be constructed at the northern extent of the site. The first floor would comprise a convenience store associated with the fuel station, and the second floor would comprise 2 apartment units. Associated site improvements would include utility connectivity, 36 off-street parking stalls, a 6-foot wooden fence along the perimeter of the site, other than the lot lines where it's crossed on the east and the south. Perimeter landscaping, street trees, pedestrian connectivity via sidewalks, connecting the convenience store to an improved 8-foot sidewalk along Harmon Way South. Sufficiency of the applicant's associated site improvements to comply with zoning code and public works standards will be further analyzed under site plan review and SEPA applications subsequent to the ADR. This is in the mixed-use town center zone and is required to get an ADR approved by the Planning Commission to be able to proceed. The applicant submitted an application packet. I understand that unfortunately only the first page of that plan set had been included in your initial packet. And so everybody should have received an email from me early this morning after thankfully Chair Cochran let me know about the mistake. Did everybody get a chance? I believe they were also printed for you and left by Shauna. Okay, so you should have the full packet in front of you now to familiarize yourself with what the full design is. And so the project description, site plan, floor plans, colored elevations, color palette, and an address of the approval criteria for ADR should all be made available to the Planning Commission in their packets. Siding at the convenience store and the apartments will consist of horizontal cement lap siding, cement board and batten, cement panels, and wood accented fascia, cornices, and trim. The canopy over the fuel bays will be constructed of steel columns and metal fascia and cornices. Exterior colors have been selected directly from the Miller Paint Historic Color fan deck and include hitching post, Quincy granite, fieldstone, and Andover cream. The red that's accented at the fuel pumps is a shade of red that matches the shades of red accented at L&M to be able to offer a bit more grounding and consistency at the site. The doors that are installed at the entrance of the convenience store will be aluminum doors, and doors installed at the patios of the apartments will be aluminum sliding doors. All windows installed will be vinyl trimmed with the fieldstone color wrap and will include grid patterns that convey the appearance of vertically oriented panes. Street trees will be installed approximately 20 feet on center and will consist of Japanese Alcova, red maple, and Freeman maple species, which are all authorized and listed on our accepted street tree list. Exterior lighting will be installed at the convenience store. There will be wall-mounted fixtures at the store itself constructed of metal housing in a dark bronze or a black finish, and the bulbs will be shielded. The exterior lighting that's at the canopy above the fuel pumps will be recessed into the roof canopy itself. And the canopy lighting will be fully shielded LED fixtures mounted within the canopy soffit. Light sources will be flush with or recessed above the bottom plane of the fixture lens so that bulbs do not extend below the horizontal plane of the shield. And it'll force the light above the fuel pumps to be downward directed and aid in the control of light spill. A 6-foot tall wood fence will be installed at the property line along the northern and western property lines. Signage is not included as a part of this application. The applicant will separately need to apply for that, for that from the Planning Commission. And then the next couple pages of the staff report go into my detailed analysis of its consistency with our ADR standards. Maybe in the interest of time, I can allow the Planning Commission to read through that, but effectively, there have been really helpful materials that have been prepared by the applicant to be able to convey their consistency with our ADR standards and with our adopted aesthetic and our design theme. In particular, if the Planning Commission looks through the plan set, one of the kind of helpful street views that were presented by the applicant is on sheet A5.0, which is the second to last sheet, and it gives a nice view, a street view of what the built structure would look like adjacent to the house to the northwest and L&M to the southwest, to be able to convey that kind of, you know, grounding and consistency in the relationship of the size of what's proposed adjacent to the neighboring facilities that are already built there. So it's a nice, yeah, kind of 3D modeling and rendering of what the built site is going to convey. With that, my staff report ends with a recommendation of approval with the adoption of a couple of conditions of approval that the applicant shall apply for the sign permit that they'll need for their business, and that they'll undergo their site plan review and SEPA process with the Community Development Department before construction can commence.
Thank you, Kim. Commissioners, questions?
I'm really glad to see that they moved the
Yes.
building from the middle of the lot to that corner. It makes a whole lot more sense.
Yes, I agree. I like that.
I just had a quick question, just with the fuel tanks and the fill placement. Did they ever get back to you on what size fuel tanks they're gonna put underground?
Not yet. I think that'll be something that'll be included in one of the responses on their SEPA checklist.
Want to make sure that they're able to safely proceed deliveries. There's enough room for a 75-foot truck to both pull in and, you know, line up with the fills properly, be able to safely deliver fuel and then safely leave the property. You know, that's the only concern. It does, and I mean, and unfortunately, you can look at a drawing, but you really don't know until you actually look at it on the ground and determine, you know, how accessible it is to fuel deliveries.
Exactly true.
We can have our city engineer require an analysis of movement and circulation on the site.
Yeah, like a standard, you know, fuel tank versus a truck trailer combination. You know, it has 2 pivot points, so it can actually turn a lot better than a regular semi trailer, but it is 75 feet long. And typically speaking, the fuel is delivered from the passenger side of the truck. That's kind of the standard. I mean, off-site deliveries can happen too, but it's not ideal. It's not the safest thing because most of your controls are on the passenger side of the truck. So it's just something to think about. That's all.
Yeah,
Thank you.
if that opening into the parking lot is not large enough, it will not be able to get.
They'll be replacing those flower beds all the time.
Yes.
Because the tandems will be running them over.
Yep.
And that's not counting, you know, the distributors like the Coca-Cola trucks or the Cisco or whatever for the food vendors. This is fuel.
Right. Although the fuel trucks are probably the largest trucks coming through there.
Probably the longest, yeah. Heaviest for sure.
Yeah.
Dan, did you have a question?
Nope.
Joe? No?
Excellent observations.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Craig, do you have any? Well, okay.
I love the fact that, you know, I love the fact that more businesses are coming into town.
Yeah.
On the flip side. So.
Okay, shoot.
I have a question about the building design. Okay, the bay windows do not appear to me to fit the Western style that the building is obviously designed after. When you look at them, and I don't know, maybe it's just because they're painted white and stick out like that. Maybe if they were the same color as the surrounding lap siding, or maybe even lap siding themselves instead of what the material that they're, they look flat in the picture. To me, they just don't fit. They look weird. And I know that wasn't on his first plan when he laid the first one out. We saw that they were just straight, straight boxes on both sides, on all four sides.
Even if they were board and batten on those bump outs.
If they want
to
the bump outs,
contrast with
I
the
think they need to
horizontal
be
lap
something.
siding.
Yeah. They just look odd like that. They don't look like anything you would have seen, in 1900.
These are the windows?
On the second floor.
On the second floor in the apartments, they're listed as bay windows, and they and you can really notice when you look at the sides of the building, because you're looking at the front and then you've got these bump outs on either side.
Look at page A 4.0. And
Mm-hmm.
you've got the
The
brown.
west, is it the west elevation or the south?
Actually, all of
Yeah.
them. It's all, no, well, except for the back. The back does not have them. The sliding glass doors don't have those bump
Be on the
outs.
west, north,
Okay.
and south.
But and the
East,
also
west, and south.
on the Harmon Way Street side, the pediment on top is centered, but on the two sides, the pediment is moved off to the odd side, the side that doesn't have the windows in it. It makes it look weird, just off balance. And I don't know, I mean, I don't mind the bump if we can change the color or something. To me, I think that's what's so distracting. If it was board and batten or lap siding, like the surrounding part, and
Right.
painted the same color.
And even if the board and batten from the first floor
Mhm.
was brought up to tie that in to those bump outs, I think architecturally it would be a lot more pleasing.
So the kind of cream colored solid surrounding the windows is what we're talking about,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Bay windows.
And the recommendation is that there might be a condition of approval that material be changed to match the board and batten that's used at the first floor, and the color as well, color and material to match that.
Or complement
Yeah.
the color
Yeah.
of the building.
Yeah, they could, yeah. But and they can choose either. They can choose, they've got lap siding up there. They can continue the lap siding, up to, around the little bay window into the because I'm not sure how wide those are, whether or not you'll be able to get a batten in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Across the bottom, but I don't know where the batten would go on either side.
No.
You might have to, it might be easier just to do the lap siding, around those, and then either paint them the same body color, or at least, not white. That white is, you
This-
would not have seen that in
The
a
same gray as the
building.
lower. So
Well, and if you look at page A 5.1, how they stick out, I'm guessing about the last page.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, about a
um,
foot.
They stick out about a foot, I'm guessing. And
Yeah.
it just, again, it's incongruous with what you would have seen.
You wouldn't have seen that in 1900. They would have
No.
just
Okay.
made, all four sides flat.
So
and put the windows in.
the windows should be more inset in line with
Yeah.
the facade itself.
Right. And if they were to do that, get rid of those bumps completely,
Yeah.
then it
And
would,
just lap siding right up to the trim or
What
whatever.
about
Mhm.
your shakes? That'd be,
I don't think you would have seen that either.
No?
No, the little bump outs, they're calling them bay windows, but they're not really a bay window in a true sense. They're just a bump out, and I can't tell how far the bump out goes. And I don't want them to have to redraw their drawings and change their design as far as that goes. Because I don't know what cost that would, entail to have them take those out and just install windows. That would be my preference, but I'm not going to ask them to do that if that's, not cost effective. But yeah, the white trim and the flat siding there, it just looks not 1900. That's not something you would have seen people do that. It's a building would not have been built that way. The Victorians did a lot of bay windows, but I mean, they were bay windows, not
Yeah,
just a
these-
little bump out.
These are just bump outs.
Yeah.
I would be in favor of just having a condition that the
be flush mount.
Yeah, but then that's changing the architectural plans.
Hmm.
I don't know what that entails. I've never had to do it, change order on.
I don't mind the bump outs. It's just the color and the wall treatment
The
of the
material.
bump outs, I think isn't consistent with
Yeah.
the ADRs.
The material needs to match the
Yeah.
existing material up there, the lap siding.
Either lap siding or the board and bat from down
Yeah.
Right.
on the first. floor.
And the same color as the first floor.
Yes,
Or the fourth color of the second,
or the color of the second floor.
Oh, okay.
just so long as it.
Not a third
Yeah,
brighter
the
contrast.
white's way too shocking. Another comment I have is on, they're referring to the L&M paint, red paint on the door and stuff. And I went back and read my records on the L&M, and that paint was in our paint, our chip fan. So I don't, in my notes did not say what the number was or what it was, but it did say that, that red paint was in our
More of
historical.
a barn red.
It seemed like, yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. So
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify that and, just not, because sometimes we've had some businesses that their first paint got approved. And then when they repainted, it wasn't exactly the same color, but it was close.
Mhm.
And it was like this really bright color and not the more muted color that it should have been. And I just want to make sure, because I don't know what color, how long the L&M's been painted, how much fading they've got or not got, or they've just repainted it with a, red paint and it's not the original paint that was done. I just want to make sure that we have a red that matches that. Because I know we had it when the L&M did theirs.
I'm gonna go grab a fan deck because it'll just be so much easier if we just get a color.
There you go. Yeah, good plan.
You have one more question when she gets back.
One more?
Just one.
Only one?
Only one?
It's Dan. He's closed mouth.
Yeah. You only got 3 or 4 more.
Yeah, I know.
Their,
I just,
their designer.
well, one of the things is this is the only gas station we have on this side of town.
Mhm.
And so people coming in from South Prairie, this might actually see quite a bit of business.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I agree, all the comments you made about the drive-in and stuff,
Okay.
that's really important.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the planning commission will just have to trust me.
We'll trust you.
I'll choose the red.
Here's a planning commission question. For the residences on the second floor, where will their trash receptacles be?
The trash receptacle is shown on the opposite side from Harmon, so essentially at the base. No, sorry, that's the service area. It's on the other side of the fuel base. So let me find where it is on one of the sheets for you.
That shows, I think that just shows the commercial dumpsters. These are gonna have residential cans.
Or is that what they're doing, allowing the residents to put their trash in the commercial?
That's
dumpster?
what I would have expected, but I can ask the applicant to clarify.
It's the site plan thing, and I could not see a dumpster enclosure. That was one of my questions.
The trash recycle is on, if you're looking at sheet A 1.1.
Yeah.
Not on here.
Okay, which sheet?
Sheet A 1.1.
Yes.
It's listed.
Where on here is that? Because I did not see it.
It's listed.
Oh, that's it back
Yeah.
there. Okay, I just missed it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Even with my.
I just
magnifier,
know that
it's hard
it's-
to see that little.
I just
video.
know that it's not addressed, that,
Laughing, you're older than me.
I just know that it's not addressed. Murray will drop cans and they'll be sitting out back of the residences on that back breezeway pit site.
Mhm. Okay.
Where that's located. Have we got confirmation from Murray's that they can bring their truck in and open the gate and empty those and put the gate back without dragging the dumpster someplace?
No.
Can we get confirmation that Murray's can get that? Because that's one of our problems in town, is that was not addressed in the original plans, and so dumpsters are put where people can't, where the dumpster guy can't get them.
Okay.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, because they're not gonna be able to get straight into that area,
That's what I'm
Right.
afraid.
They're
of.
gonna have to pivot those things out, and they
which
may
is
or
gonna block traffic.
yeah, while they're doing it.
Yeah,
But
there's a lot of parking in this thing. And so that's why I think if we bring the point up front and have Murray look at it and say, where's the best place to put our dumpsters? That's where they should put it.
Okay.
So that the truck can get in, dump and leave and close the little gate and be done with it. Just an FYI, I noticed the drawing. I know we're not seeing signs tonight, but I noticed they have a sign on their canopy. And would you assure them that we do not allow any kind of signage on the fuel canopies? Nobody in town has that, and we don't allow it at all.
Yep.
So don't send us a sign program for that, because we don't like it. Yeah, I saw that. So I said, no, we don't want that. I also is this going to be a 24-hour store?
I'm not sure.
My question to that is because we are in a neighborhood, there's all residential across the street, residential on both sides of this thing and behind. And so if it's a 24-hour store, is there some way to dim their lights and stuff? I know after we okayed the lights for the Baptist church parking lot, and then we got yelled at. So we had to go back and redo that. And the church was more than glad to, accommodate that problem. But I'm not a lighting tech, and I don't know, and I don't know what all those looms and all that stuff means and what's too bright and what's not too bright. I want to make sure that if it turns out that these lights are, are too bright for that corner and the neighborhood around them, if they're open 24 hours, that we have some sort of a fallback to dim their lights. Or I don't know if they do that in gas stations.
Well, the way that this usually gets handled is it would be handled as code enforcement if the lights were deemed to be a public nuisance. So somebody would have to file a complaint with the code enforcement officer, and the code enforcement officer would have to deem it a public nuisance in our code and then be able to enforce some sort of correction of the property owner to be able to address the nuisance. Hopefully we can get to a resolve before that, because hopefully via the SEPA process with the application, we'll be able to govern things like, Kelvin color temperature is a pretty popular topic when it comes to lighting, that anything 3000 or less is pretty warm tone. Anything above that is pretty bright white, and then it even starts to get into like blue tones. I mean, it's so bright that it looks blue. And those are pretty off-putting, pretty obstructing. And so we can certainly, use our leverage in SEPA to be able to, require that for mitigation from aesthetic disturbances and effects to the neighboring residents, that we're going to require certain types of lighting. And maybe that's lighting color, maybe that's wattage. I don't know that we have the ability to limit their hours of operation or
Saying that.
or even how dim we require there. We don't have like an adopted dark sky standard in Ording or anything like some communities do. And so we don't have established lighting protocols like some cities. Some cities have established lighting policies that regulate how bright a site can be. We don't have that. So SEPA is going to be our friend on that one.
Okay. Just so long we're aware of that. And, because like I said, when we okayed the church parking lot, we thought we were good. And then the neighbors just it says it's like the, land, it's like the SeaTac strip,
Mm-hmm.
and they're saying, they're going to land planes out there or something.
Yeah.
So, and then, like I said, the church was really amiable, and they worked it out, and they changed out whatever they needed to change out, and nobody's complained since. So I just wanted to get ahead of that. So
Absolutely. The city, I've already spoken about this project with the mayor and the city administrator. We're very, very, we're already very, very, thoughtful, I think, about what it is that we're going to think about in terms of being able to protect the rights and enjoyment of property for the neighbors at this site. Certainly from a lighting perspective, also from a noise perspective, the mayor had me take down a note to ensure that via SEPA, we make sure that there's some sort of mitigation of acoustics, of noise that might be generated from roof-mounted mechanical equipment or ground-mounted mechanical equipment if it borders that property between that neighbor to the northwest and the new convenience store. And so we're already thinking about how it is, what tools we have at our disposal to be able to make sure that there isn't some sort of, noise related nuisance or light related nuisance that's going to affect the enjoyment of property for the neighbors.
Yeah, based on the language used in the application, I believe they will be respectful of
Yeah.
that. The fact that approaching the recessed fixtures and shielding, they're aware.
Yeah, I
potential
read all the different
conflicts.
parts to that.
Yeah.
Yes, my only, my concern was, is I don't know anything about light bulbs.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what that is gonna look like. I didn't know the church was gonna look like that, so, yeah. I only have one more thing. When I looked at the site map, the last row of parking strips they have across the back, and then they've got that long dog leg that's green. Okay, my question is there going to be some sort of curb or something across that back so that people don't drive into the back to park back there when there's having a big thing to do with the L&M or whatever, and they need more parking, and parking in the grass is my concern.
I can take down a note to be able to address that. Certainly, we can require a curb to front those parking stalls to be able to prevent that. But I had a broader question for the applicant when they come in for their SEPA and site plan review, which is, what are you doing with that space back there? So we'll find that out. Certainly, if they're intending for it to just be kind of an open vegetated space, you can see right now the drawings include some large trees already in that area. So
Back there is blackberry brambles.
okay. They put some pretty big trees on these plans. So, but in any case, yes, we can make sure.
Those are mine. One of them I'm thinking about taking out, so there'll only be two.
Well, and the curb should be a little bit taller than a standard curb because
I just don't want-
pickups
I can just see, if
pickups
the
that go to
parking
L&M
lot's full, I can just see them pulling over into the grass and
and a curb is not, going to
drive
stop.
back in there. And I don't, that whole area back there is real marshy, when it gets wet, and it gets wet all winter. And so, it would become a giant mud hole really fast.
Mhm.
Not to mention, there's a French drain, not on this property, but when you look at these properties here, these properties that all face on Kansas, all these backyards back here, there's a big French drain that goes back there. And I'm not sure exactly, I don't think it goes onto this property. I could be wrong, but I don't know how French drains all work and what has to, I know that they weren't supposed to let blackberry brambles grow on them, and that happened, but I just want to make sure that if it's going to be a green space, it's going to be a grassed green space, and somebody's going to mow it, and nobody's going to be driving and parking on it.
Mhm.
Well, the upside of this improvement is the whole gas station property will be paved, so then it'll have
Yeah.
actual drainage, so there won't be runoff into the adjacent properties.
That
Yes.
would be nice. Yes, that would be
That's a requirement of the stormwater regulations. JC will make sure that that's seen too.
yeah, because most of the water runs back toward my yard.
Yeah, they have a requirement. All development has a requirement. They have to be able to maintain stormwater on site. So they'll be required to do that. JC will make sure of that.
Is there a reason that they want 6 pumps instead of maybe just 4? Was there a
I would be hazarding a guess, Chair.
Volume.
just more people to park?
However, they may have to shrink it to 4 to get those trucks in and out.
True, yeah.
Oh, okay. And Chris asked if there was do you know if they're gonna be selling alcohol in the convenience store?
I'm not sure. I would bet.
Yeah, I would bet too. They even sold it at the Jackpot. Anyway, I'm done. Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Good.
I'm good with
Good.
conditional approval.
Okay,
You want to make the motion then?
I will make a motion that we conditionally approve according to staff recommendations and the addition of the siding change on the bump outs on the second floor to complement or be the same color as the lower floor of ADR 2026-02, the fuel station at 519 Harmon.
Commissioner Bush, second.
And-
Chair, I might ask for on staff's behalf for just a quick clarification. Had there also been an intention to include a condition that the color of red accented at the fuel pump match one of the colors in our fan deck?
Yes, and that the site survey for the access of the trucks be done to ensure that they'll fit in and out with the design.
Along with the traffic pattern for the dumpsters
Right.
and some sort of a curb at the back to prevent parking in the grass.
Okay.
I think that's all the stuff we covered, right?
Yeah.
Conditional approval. Dan Swanson. And then Tom,
Yep, second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So carried.
You never have to do a roll call vote here.
I don't think we're ever at that big of odds. I very seldom have ever had, a no vote.
Contentious, yeah.
I think we've had it once or twice, but very seldom does that happen. Okay. Moving right along, Route 66 Pizza ADR pre-app.
Chair, as a reminder for the entire planning commission, this is a new process, fairly new process that we just instituted last year. This is an at no cost option for a prospective project to approach the planning commission without seeking an official decision from the planning commission on an early design concept that has been proposed. This application tonight is focused on the Route 66 pizza shop in town. There's a proposed small expansion. I've explained to the applicant who's here tonight to be able to approach the planning commission that because the application is at no cost, it comes with no sort of analysis or presentation from staff. It's her opportunity to be able to approach the planning commission and seek any sorts of feedback from the commission to be able to kind of guide her understanding of what the accepted aesthetic is in town. So with that, if you'd like to approach the dais, you can address the planning commission and I'll try to figure out how to share this thing.
And he is just recently retired, so he's been working with Randy and Mary at Route 66 for the last 10 years, back and forth on trying to land at either a facade upgrade or an addition. So we've been working with them and going through the history of their different iterations of design. And what we've landed at this point is we'd love to pursue filling in the exterior covered porch with some additional interior seating. And then to honor just like the historical context of Route 66 pizza and just their automotive theme, we looked at turn of the century service stations around 1900 to 1930. And I have the probably such it, but I do have mentions we used to be at this tolerance that goes from Captain, those different gas stations, it kind of pull the western into the station. If you want to do as best you can to fit into the ADR and the community design skills that you guys want downtown with that. So that's what we're pursuing is a design that will be like a service station with a pizza restaurant, and it would provide some more. There's a canopy, like our initial massing shows the canopy coming out, which then we'd like to have some 1900s tanks that obviously go for. And then some seating underneath the covered porch, and then sort of the new covered area, and then that's like a little bit. I don't know how much it should share. Oh yeah. And then we love budget might and they probably have seen some that last image with the rendering.
This guy?
I think it's the very
Oh, very low.
yeah, I think it's the second, let's see, the last 3 or 4 slides are my favorite. Oh yeah, those are just some examples of turn of the century service stations that our design was pulled from. And then I think the next page,
This
those are
one?
just some precedents from boarding as far as detailing in brick or the siding that and signage that stood out in colors that stood out to our design team. And then the next slide, I think is. I think it's the last one. Yeah, so if the client probably can't afford all brick, but that's our best at pulling in some of the Victorian, just like with materiality, but if we could pursue into some of the detailing and the cornices or corbelling, whether it's in our trim, if we have to have partial party, partial brick. So we're open, just wanted to get your initial ideas and feedback on our design, and obviously the restaurant's been here for a long time, but we want it to look nice in the community, and I guess the two are what we brought tonight doesn't really address the other sides of the building, but we're aware that Route 66 is right on the trail, and we're talking with a civil engineer, just different options for what we can do with infiltration and with water on the site, but we'd be open to doing landscaping that really makes the back of Route 66 look a lot better. I mean, right now.
Does this change the location of the front door from where it is now?
I believe it will come out.
It will be further. Yeah. I'm more concerned, is it getting closer to the school? Because that was an issue before, and why they chose that location for the entrance. You had to be so many feet away from the school if you sell alcohol.
And it was an issue where it is right now, or in coming out.
It has been placed where it is now to comply with that. If you change it, then you may be in violation.
You can get further away, you just can't get closer.
My comments would just be on the material because that rendering, oil brick is a lot more appealing than the black and white line drawing, which looks very modern
Oh, yeah.
in design. My advice would be, from a marketing perspective, to not incorporate the gas pumps, because you literally have a real gas station right next door and a real one right across the street,
Yeah.
and it can just appear like another gas station. Even though they are old pumps.
I think you'd be further off. Route 66 got its start in the conversion from stagecoaches to Model A's and T's. And I think you'd be further off getting away from the gas pumps and going more towards hitching posts.
Well, my biggest problem with this whole thing, first off, the black and white drawing we got looks like 1950. So it's
Yeah.
50 years too late to do this. Secondly, there were no gas stations in 1900, not on the West Coast. If you wanted gasoline, you went to the blacksmith, or you went to the pharmacy or the general store, and they sold you a 5-gallon can, and you took it out there and poured it into the car yourself. So pumps and all that stuff doesn't turn, that's not 1900. That's not turn of the century. I'm confused. I go with Dan. You've got 2 gas stations, one right next door and one across the street. And with this garage door on here, they had this, they had 2 garage doors on the last plan they showed us. And we okayed that because they had a porch all the way across the front, and it definitely looked like this was a patio area. It was not a gas station. This looks like a gas station. And
The-
I don't know about you, but I don't want to eat my pizza in a gas station. I don't eat food at all in a gas station.
The previous version also came across a little bit more of a train station.
Yeah.
type of a look
Right.
Yeah, depot.
and fit into the proximity of
Definitely.
in town of where it's located.
I actually think that the previous design would be far, far more appealing and more fitting than this current one.
Yeah, I'm not understanding when you say you're filling in. Are you? They have the open air patio on the side, and then they also have, you know, seating out front. What are you talking about filling in?
Yeah, that front, that you're showing. So
This one?
Yeah, the dining area would come out and there'd be a new canopy beyond that would go toward the street.
Is there,
There's not much street.
there's not much space, street
Well,
space.
like car length is about what it was. We used to pull in for, you know, when the traffic wasn't so bad, you could pull right in to the front of it. So it's about a car length out there. But, so you're talking about bringing this all the way out to the sidewalk?
We have a site plan.
I think it's included in your
What's
package.
that? Yeah, so you're really close to the street already.
Yeah,
As far as just the architecture design, I don't care for this at all. It looks like a 1950s gas station.
yeah,
I just don't.
I
I
When I
don't see
saw it-
anything on here that looks 1900 Western.
Yeah, when I saw it, I said, well, no, and we've had, it just doesn't. There's nothing Western, there's
Mm-mm.
nothing Victorian, there's nothing turn of the century, different century. But yeah,
I don't see how this design's gonna work at all. I do not see one thing on here that looks Western.
And Chair, I might just step in just to give some understanding to the applicant. When Commissioner Swanson mentioned train depot, I think it'd be important for you to understand the relevance of history. Train used to run through the town. In fact, I think the tracks ran through the location of the pizza shop. So it sounds like the previous design paid homage to the relevant history in town.
Railroad to
Right.
put this building here.
Right. And most of the land that takes up now our Foothills Trail was donated by anybody jump in if I'm getting the history wrong, was donated by the railway. So it's very relevant history in this town, and it seems that the previous design paid better homage to that history. And that might be what the commission is looking for.
exactly, yeah.
And just a little feedback for you. This process is new, but this is much better than submitting a plan because now we are to a one and done. So you submit it, we deny it, you have to change it, resubmit it, repay. So this interaction is a good thing. So we're not beating you up. We just want to make sure that when you come back. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Change it from automotive to train
Yeah.
and, make it look more like the train station. And it would tie in also a whole lot better with that portion of the park that's right there.
Or even like that stagecoach,
Yeah,
Route 66.
yeah. If it was like a stagecoach stop,
Yeah.
because that's what Route 66 was.
Originally.
It was the stagecoach route and the Wells Fargo relay stations. And so if you tied it into that and hit that design, you'd be right there.
Yeah, we're just trying to really make sure that our downtown looks like somebody's gonna drive down here to ride the trail and enjoy the ambiance of our town. And we're trying to really stick close to that 1900 look. We wanted Victorian, but it's too expensive. Western, we're pretty settled on Western. Nobody wants to build a Victorian house. I don't know why. I love them. That's my favorite.
Well, we have the one.
I know. And it's really funny if you look at the old pictures of Ording, there is a Victorian building on the main street. It was beautiful. It had two big buildings on each one and then a tower in the center. It was gorgeous. And through the years, you know, one side burned and then the other one had a couple fires and they ended up having to tear the whole thing down. But it was a gorgeous building. But I'm sure that was back when they could afford lumber. This was a lumber town. They could build stuff.
Yeah, I agree. If
Yeah.
it's a little bit more Stagecoach, Train
Yeah.
Depot, again, 1900 view versus 1950 or 1960 in appearance, then
You're
Client isn't because of their automobile, like not just so much Android and like the history of like with 66 is still the license plate, we
Mhm.
their gas pump inside, you know. Let's say they're not into trains. What if our design was more Western looking?
that would be,
That sign is 66 and then the interior really handled the gas station theme.
Are they still thinking to using this, the wings and the 66, this logo that they showed us the last time?
Yeah.
Because, yeah,
It's
yeah,
all their logo is the same.
What,
from an ADR perspective, yeah,
Yeah.
a Western exterior is more than fine. What's done inside, whether that's license plate
that's up
or
to
the
them,
front half of a Buick that's also a booth, we don't care. It's not our purview.
right? Yep.
it's just the outside appearance.
Okay.
See, even the brick makes it look better, but it still looks very modern.
Mhm. Those kind of brick structures are very 1950 post-war.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, just to be the dead word. So are there any of these that look at all turn of the century Western to you?
No.
Like I know there's the step on the bottom one that's like, that's Magnolia. There's like
Right.
step and there's brick and there's detail. Like that's really the one that we designed this from.
Again, that's more of,
That has, I think you're right, you know, that you would see probably in the 1920s.
yeah. That's,
And it's just, you know, 20 years too late.
Yeah, I would look at the same thing. I would look those of being a 1930 to 1950 remodel of a 1900 building.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, this is so great. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that in a future submission that would be glaring to you that's important for us to address in our design? Whether it's obviously this is a miss on the law office, but
Well, I think if you don't mind.
No.
I think you've heard probably just among the other reviews that we've done, we're very keyed up on siding type, following the colors, the aesthetic of the community, following that, you know, very much a pioneer turn of the 20th century look, and that it blends with the community. We, you know, just a note to you and the owners of Route 66, we welcome the remodel. We know there's been
Yeah.
a few attempts, but I think those would be the big ones that we look at.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're excited that they want to do something, and we would love to see whatever they come up with actually get accomplished. We were really excited with this last one.
Yeah. Yeah. The water tower was really cool.
you got Randy and you're you had questions about that, that's different. Danielle, and
Yeah, I understand. I mean, you know, I'm sure that, you know, there, all of this stuff is cost prohibitive sometimes and I understand that. But, yeah, we really, you know, really do want to try to keep the town the way, you know, the way it's going. And there's a big lot across the street from, you know, the route. And that's going to be a big deal when they come forward with their plan. And we want them to stick in the same 1900. Let's, you know, we want the town to be cohesive that way. And we've got some really good examples in town. The Wild Rose, that I cannot believe that is a PSI.
Yes,
took,
PSI.
took over a half round Quonset hut and turned it into an amazing building. And, you know, super proud of that. And, you know, what faces on Van Scoik is just, you know, a gorgeous building. And that was a really ugly building when they started.
Eagles.
Huh?
Eagles.
The
Oh,
Eagles,
yeah.
they finished the paint.
Isn't that
It's
nice?
It looks so good.
It's
Yeah.
gorgeous. Yes, they've done a great job. But yeah, we're just driving real hard to try to keep that thing going. And the ADR has been in effect since 91, I think. And or that's when we started talking about, you know, trying to give ourselves, because we knew we weren't going to get, you know, we're not big enough and we're in the middle of the two hills, so we're not going to get a Walmart or anything else to drive people to come here. And so we thought, you know, we'll try to make it a theme town. Not quite, is it Winthrop?
Yeah.
Yeah, or Leavenworth, you know, not that snobby, but we're just really trying to, you know, dig into that Western look. No, I've been to Deadwood.
That's like my favorite restaurant.
Yeah, there's,
I would think about that favorite. Is there any other commentaries we have on the back of our building or the side? Then I think about.
I mean, just, I would say just keep in mind that of where the back and the side face
Yeah.
is, as far as the trail, and then also faces the park, where you've got, like I mentioned before tonight, farmers markets that happen,
yeah,
you know, from Memorial to Labor Day, and there's a lot of people, a lot of visibility. So that building itself is viewed by a lot of people walking by.
And windows with grids.
Yeah.
Because we've seen some great designs, but the windows didn't click because they were big and they were not gridded.
yeah.
Because at that time frame, large panels of glass didn't make it out here.
That was one of the things. But just speaking through the back, Route 66 parking lot. But if there was an opportunity for us to do landscaping and some seating, but there's more things to put things up. And
Yeah, so and anything, you know, and I know that's a service area, so, you know, so that, you know, some way to conceal it, you know, a lot of the businesses have got, you know, fencing that's, you know, either like wood fencing or whatever. And I realize those big gates, I've got a gate on my yard. It's really hard to open and close. So, I mean, I understand that, but you know, anything to help conceal the service area so that when you look at the back of the building, you know, it looks neat.
Especially the dumpsters.
Yes.
Coordinate that so that the access for Murray's to your dumpsters is
simplified.
They can get in, they can get out. They don't have to take a forklift and, you know, move them or, you know, push them all over.
Yeah. The dumpsters have become a giant issue. I mean, everybody has them. All the stores have them. And we're just, so many of our stuff, we're trying to, you know, second guess, you know, post Monday back quarterbacking here, because they're already there. And now we're trying to find ways to hide those better, because nobody wants to walk down the sidewalk and, you know, on a nice Sunday evening and look at somebody's dumpster that's going out tomorrow. So
Thank you.
Hope we gave you some good ideas.
Good.
Okay, let's see.
Old business.
Whole business. Dumpster violations. There you go. Kim, do we have any dumpster violations this month?
I'm not in a position any longer to speak to it. I'm not really in the code enforcement realm anymore. I'm gonna have to pick on our city
Not aware of
administrator.
any.
Okay.
Okay. The Arrow Lumber dumpsters, Sunday, they moved them out onto the right of way. And so when you're coming Eldridge to Calistoga, you cannot see what's coming from downtown And even though they try and leave a little gap in between them, it's Sunday afternoon through sometime late Monday afternoon. They're sitting there blocking, creating a tremendous safety hazard. And it encroaches in the city right away.
Yeah.
And frankly, they need to do something other than that. Where they have them sited inside the lumber yard, the Murray's trucks could pull in and get them right there.
Yeah, we've asked this question for several months now. Why can't Murray just drive in, pick them up? Big trucks go in and out of that yard. They should be able to just drive in, pick up the dumpsters, dump them and leave, not drag them out to the street.
Right, and then they wouldn't have to, then Arrow wouldn't have to take a forklift and lift them and take them out and set them in the public right of way and create this safety hazard. It is, come by there on Sunday afternoon.
With the code enforcement.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. If you're on Eldridge on the Safeway side and trying to go across or turn left onto Calistoga, you cannot see down that road.
even turning right is dangerous.
Yeah, well, you're hoping there. You can
Yeah.
speed. Yeah, that's not a great corner. That's especially with the dumpsters. Okay, signs. Where are we?
I have two. One I brought up before, another one's a new one. Herfy's now has a flutter flag out in the bark berm off the sidewalk. And the other one is Wawa now has added more temporary vinyl signs nailed to the outside of their building of pictures of food. So they took them down for a while and then they replaced them with new ones. And then upped it, I think, by 2 additional.
Yep, I've noticed them doing that. I had a question about the new housing that's going up and the flagpoles with the flags. They're not flutter flags, but are they? Where do they fit in the sign code? Because they're out there.
They're talking about the KB ones?
Yeah, the KB ones.
I would assume that they're considering those banners, just like we use, because there's a isn't there a rod in the top and the bottom?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they're considering those banners.
Okay. And is not there a time limit for banners?
I have to look at the code. Oh my God.
In addition to
They changed owners. You
Again?
know.
Again?
No, I don't think again, but I think it's the same owners, the same new
Oh, yeah,
owner.
on Wawa? Oh, yeah, I know.
that one.
Oh, yeah, Wawa's just covered in them.
Maybe rather than redoing their siding, they're just gonna cover it with vinyl.
Can't be outside with teriyaki
Yeah.
food.
But I mean, I was just curious about the KB.
Banners downtown on the main street. Because when you told me that, I went and looked. And it, but I'm looking, it says, well, the city puts banners up every year and we change them as a season kind of thing, like for the farmer's market and Christmas and, and so we change ours. And I know the Safeway has banners inside their parking lot. And so long as they're tied at the top and the bottom and they're, most of them are always mounted up high. They're not, because the flutter flags, we complained about those
Right.
because they were down in, in your visual driving areas. So yeah, I don't remember what the ruling is for banner because we've really never dealt with them. Very few, most of them don't deal with that because it's a cost. You got the
Right.
pole and the top and bottom rods.
I just wanted to make sure that they were not prohibited or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I know that they aren't flutter flags,
Yeah.
but
I don't think we've had any of our other developers use those.
no.
I think KB is the first ones that's actually put that out there like that.
And there won't be that many more developments, so we don't have to
No.
worry about a whole lot more, but
Well, maybe they'll leave them up and put some nice little decorative flags up there.
yeah, well, that's part of my fear. Yeah.
Yeah. Kim, can you find anything about the banner flags and the
Not
'cause
immediate.
that's what they are, they're banners. And I know we refer to banners as the ones we go across the street, on the main street, we have banners. And, we
But-
have rulings, but they're all temporary things.
They're temporary
Mhm.
and they are city banners, not private banners.
Yeah, well, we can't discriminate against people's signage. That's against the law. I got yelled at by
Don't we
them.
have a temporary sign?
We do have a temporary sign permit and that's, and I'm wondering if those fall into that.
Yeah.
We should.
And if so, we need to, because they've been up there.
How big are the banners? 3x1?
They look maybe like
2x3?
2x3.
I'm guessing. I'm not good at that.
Yeah, maybe 3x5 because they're high enough.
Just gold, with the KB.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
I
about.
thought on the last sign review, when we went through that whole reset.
We did.
We addressed that.
We did, and
Because, like the school district on the chain link fence out in front of the high school has 2 temporary banners affixed, zip tied to that
Mhm.
fence that should have a temporary permit advertising preschool, after school care.
I'm just trying to recall where we landed with this and there has been a sign for probably a year and a half outside the new white building. This is commercial space for lease.
Yeah.
And we have said that's okay because it's a real estate sign that is promoting business downtown. And so we've said that that's okay and can remain. And I'm just wondering if that same kind of logic would apply to this sort of situation with the banners.
Dress the banners, because really the city and Safeway are the only 2 people I know of off the top of my head that actually have banners that they use religiously. This, I don't think we've had a realtor before that has done that, but it is still in their advertising, part. I'm sure that's part of their budget for their, their advertising stuff out there. But I don't know that we ever addressed banners per se when we did the sign code.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about.
I don't,
everything else.
the word doesn't come up in a search.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Craig, it is 28 after. I move we extend the meeting till 9 o'clock.
There's a motion on the floor.
Well, if nobody's going to do it, we're going to end up real quick.
I'll conditionally second that.
We aren't going to go that long, but yeah.
We're gonna try to close this pretty quick here. We're not doing that. Okay. If you.
Chair,
I will
the
check.
code enforcement officer has authority to be able to enforce the sign code. We can certainly ask for the code enforcement officer, and I'm looking at the CA because I don't have that authority any longer, but I'm looking at the CA to
Just need to know whether or not that's okay.
Right.
And we also talked about, Daisy's Boutique.
Mm.
It actually is, I think, a type of flutter flag, but
Yes, it is.
but it's not mounted on the ground. They mounted it to the face of the building, sticking out like a perpendicular flag over your door. But
Mm.
it is a flutter flag. It's not a big one. It's, this little curved thing. It doesn't flop down. But it's just sticking out over there. They do not have a permit for it, is my thing. And either they need a permit or they need a temporary permit for it, or
It's a flutter flag, though?
It's a flutter flag.
Then they,
I'm sure
They,
that they have bought it from a flutter flag company.
yeah, it is a flutter flag. It's
Yeah.
mounted on the building, but it's a flutter flag.
Yeah, that. So they need to be sent a letter saying, your sign's not to code. Because what was the last business was out there? They had a little
Better Properties? Or
was it Better Property? Somebody had a little round sign.
Better
that-
Properties had the round
It
sign.
was on, it was perpendicular. So when you were coming down Calistoga and you glanced down, you could see, oh, there's another store down there. And I know that's what they're doing because you don't know it's there.
Although with the color of Daisy's Boutique's flutter flag, it's real hard to, it's easy to miss because it's kind of a pale pink.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, they need a letter saying that that's not an acceptable flag. Okay. Anybody else seen any other sign cone? No? Moving on. Planned absences. What month are we in? April, May. Is anybody going to be out of town in May?
I might be.
You might be. Not going to China, are you?
No.
Uh-oh.
May 4th. Ooh, okay,
May 4th, I think I'm gonna be here.
okay. And hopefully Chris will find his way back and out of jail.
Jeez.
Report on the council meetings. Mark, I think that's you.
Oh, my.
We just like a
forgot about
nightcap
that.
kind of thing.
Dealing with a lot of issues, land use, we've got the Kansas Street, project going, just trying to think of the kind of, there's an issue going on where the mayor and I are trying to, have the mayor, the authority to manage contingency funds in large projects like Kansas Street. The problem we have is that, the council wants lots of time to look at a change order, but construction moves quickly and you just end up with another change order for delaying the project. So we're working on that. Scott, is anything standing out that, had a lot of, smaller things that we've been plowing on, but,
There's simply for a council discussion. Then we have the committee of the whole meeting, which is county. And that one there, we're having all the presentations, so that all of the council members are receiving all that information at the same time. And that's great time, so if you have items that are coming up through the planning commission, it's gonna go into the committee of the whole first, and then the full body is gonna see it for open discussion, know what they happen. I think that's been one of the bigger changes, and I think one of the better opportunities we have for people to communicate better, and getting better understanding of topics for them. So those are some of the key items that the treatment plan, it's gonna be a big one. We've had a rate study done with the cost of service for some potential upgrades. And the initial ones that Mr. Bethune and I looked at were just simply cost prohibitive for the city to move forward on. So we're having that all resized and having it reprioritize the improvements to our wastewater treatment services and to where it can be more graduated, progressive, and it's rate increases the way where the citizens can better handle that. We're looking at today we're looking maybe a 4% per year increase versus a 25% per year increase. So we'll work on that. That's getting a little closer to being more. The other thing that's really been very helpful, and I'm hoping to engage our planner Jim Gunderson more on, is the Oregon Business Association, and seeing the Chamber of Commerce transition to the Oregon Business Association. It's really a lot more engaged, revitalized. Kelly, you may remember the OBCA,
Mhm.
much more reminiscent of the Oregon Business.
Oh, that's
OBCA.
good.
And they're much more engaged. They've got a lot more participation. They were the ones that actually put together a large portion of the Theatrical Festival this weekend. All the vendors, they had volunteers. The volunteers helping with the parking, with every aspect of the parade. They were involved in it, and it fell under their permit. That was a huge change. So trying to get the businesses to fall into that Oregon Business Association, to get them a bigger voice, and also get them more in tune with all of the topics that are going on in the city. So myself and Administrator attending their meetings from their inaugural meeting today, and they're a much more engaged group. They've got businesses coming online that, let's say, Errol just signed up to be part of the Oregon Business Association, talking about things like dumpsters. That's a great place for them to talk about it and share their experiences and come up with solutions. Talk about, the upcoming parking codes and parking restrictions within the city, and have the businesses offer enough solutions to business problems. Hopefully that would be very helpful forward.
That's awesome.
Well, I think
That's awesome. That's one of the whole thing with the parking and parking lots. And, we've talked about this for 30 years,
Huh.
trying to find the right spot. And a lot of times you don't get enough help from the businesses on what you need. And, all they want is just less parking. Well, less parking is not gonna help when we overcrowd the city and there's no place to park the car. Nobody's gonna come to your store because there's no place to park.
Or to get the businesses to work together to share parking
Yes,
during events,
absolutely.
rather than saying, no, this is mine and you can't park here. And
Right.
That, well,
Yeah.
just those conversations that amongst
Yeah.
amongst themselves, oh, when it comes time before they come before you, or businesses coming into town. Understanding this is our culture, this is what our vision is for what we want to see it look like. We've all gone through the process, let me help you too, get through it. We opened up one new business this last weekend in Mercantile, and it was really successful grand opening, and so we're able to work with them on helping them with their business opening and recognize them, proclamation, recognition. So hopefully we'll see more successful businesses coming into town, and then also working together to where the city's not the one driving some of these processes, that the active businesses themselves are the ones helping to support the vision of the city. So, yeah, I guess I can. Well, one last thing for Kelly, we're still working on the city hall.
Oh,
And
I told Mark I need to come take pictures.
trying to figure out its pathway forward. We presented 4 options to council. One of them would be like a parking lot. Told us to make the parking lot. Another one would be to let it sit, just deteriorate away. Another option would be to sort of seek out reservation rents and look at a historical perspective, try and preserve the building.
Yeah.
Then the city works a private partner relationship to lease out space there, and it help for itself forward. The last one would be a sale of the property with conditions. And so let's say we want to preserve certain historical aspects of it, say the entryway doors, and then the plaques and some of the key things that are part of the city's history. Preserve those in the look of the building, and they can go into a new building, but we want to preserve some key flavor and historic way.
Yeah.
I think what's gaining, I think probably more momentum right now is one particular investor that's interested in the building, maybe saving the building, and then bringing back some of its original look from the original structure, which is very different from what it is today. And a couple of the options we're looking at the fire days, and one suggestion was they make a shared wall ownership, where you could have 2 owners of the building, and the city fire department. The city fire department has that area there would be for historic, for history museum, downtown, preserve some of our history, and trying to work with a private public type of investment, and save some of that and allow us to go forward and maybe bring something beneficial to the community out of it. I don't know the value of the property. Mr. Boone's working on that. So I could be having really big dreams right now. But it may only be worth just not as much money as we think we do, so.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have, I've looked into it a couple times, but there's quite a bit of paperwork to do, some sort of historical code. And, in a lot of places, what they've done is you can't change anything that you can see from the street on anything. They set a date, and anything built before this date, you can't change anything that, you can see from the street. If I can, you can blow out the back and build a 2-story structure on the back, but you can't change the street view. And, something as simple as that, I don't, it wouldn't be simple because the ADR took David and I a whole year to write, but it always starts out simple and turns into a nightmare. But, something like that to protect some of our old buildings and to prevent, and also I looked into it too late. The barn that was down on where Brightwater is built, the county and the state have grants to protect old barns. Well, by the time I got word of that and tried to look into it, it was too late. They'd already, decided it was going to Kelly Farms and we were out. But we definitely, could, try to look into something. I don't know if the city wants to hold on to the building or wants to try to, I feel like the more businesses we have in town, the better we're gonna be. And they'll keep people, then now you can buy something here. You don't have to go down the, the Ording Sumner Highway and take 30 minutes to get to Sunrise Terrace.
Yeah, so I believe that when we get further in this process, they'll be coming before you for ideas and for guidance.
Okay.
They'll be working with our city planner for options. The process that's going to go forward now is we have the appraisal process going on. First, we've looked at the hazardous.
So
Environmental aspect of it.
Yeah.
We anticipate there'll be a proposal coming forward and then probably come in a preview type situation, to talk about ideas that they can do with the building.
that sign outside City Hall on the sidewalk there that's talking about hazardous and that's referring to the old building, correct? No? Okay.
Both city halls are in a bit of a similar situation where they have known contamination beneath City Hall. That's been remediated to some extent, but it's never undergone what's called the formal NFA process and no further action process with the Department of Ecology, which delists the building as being a contaminated site. As long as we're a listed contaminated site, we have to pay for an annual UST underground storage tank permit through the Tacoma Pierce County Health Department, and that goes up every year. And so right now we pay TCHG every year for a permit at this site and at Old City Hall. And the mechanism for no longer needing to pay for that permit is to move through the NFA apology. We're trying to use grant funding from the state via CLIA, an arm of ecology, to move through that process with New City Hall. And we're exploring what might be appropriate at Old City Hall.
Thought we had that all done before we built the building.
No, they excavated the contaminated, there's a diesel tank leaked.
Yeah, I knew
They
that. but-
Excavated that, but it's the administrative process behind it.
You gotta
Work's
pay all
done,
those
but
paper
it's-
pushers.
Oh, I
it's the
understand.
paperwork's gotta catch up.
I understand.
Mm.
I just thought I'd.
We haven't cleared the Old City Hall.
They can improve fuel tank, they did remediate the soils.
Yeah.
And it goes through a process and return the soils, and actually some of that work happened in the tail end of the library. Center there also, but the areas that we didn't go in, remediate the soils were under the street, right?
Oh.
So you have a couple test wells that are right sidewalk, one out in the street and one on the parking lot. In the rear of the building between the library.
Yeah.
That was to measure how far that fuel will get spread. From what I read, I don't have any really recent reports that I read, but there was really on test well where they were actually showing hydrocarbons were showing up. In that one, that was older study, so we still have a lot of work to do on it to better understand what it is. The people that have looked at the building, and been aware of it also, and so needless to say, it doesn't help the property value at all.
The happy news is that a site listed that hasn't gone through NFA isn't required to move through that process before redevelopment of the site can happen. So prospectively, a new owner of the site could choose to buy the property, redevelop it in whatever way it is that is worked out, and also opt not to move through the NFA process right away and accept that they're going to have to pay a UST permit.
Basically like we did here.
What kind of money are we talking about is the fee?
Here, what's our recent one? $2,500 a year.
And what do they do with our $2,500? Anything? No. Pay somebody?
Have a big lunch.
Yeah. Have a Christmas party? Yeah. Olympian.
It's probably one of my punch list of goals, that's probably one of my top
Yeah.
goals, is to find the ability to repurpose that building. And then to put it back, use again and bring some life back into it. Make it more of an asset for our city.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I hear about that would be impactful for you, you probably already talked about, and this is future affordable housing. What options are we gonna be looking at? That seems to be
There is no such thing as affordable housing, not in Washington state. You want affordable housing, you have to move to Mississippi.
Not in Western.
I went to an AWC meeting, one city was talking about their average home cost is 1.4 million. Our whole city's affordable housing at that point.
Yes.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah,
That's just some- all on the way. Waiting to be able to start seeing some of our options, which might cottage housing,
Mhm.
some other small units, but I think we've got some, planning commission, that's great, creative things in mixed use town center with, bringing, business, residential together in one building. That's a great way to stimulate the downtown economy, plus offer housing.
well, one of the things that we've looked at this level, because we've been introduced, the Brightwater, they wanted to put apartments down there. They wanted to rezone and put apartments, and we hadn't had that kind of crowd in a while. People don't want that. They don't like it. You look at Pelp's full of apartment buildings, and they have a really large police department because they need that. And what we've been doing really is, I think the biggest thing we have is a 5-plex. Most everything is 4-plex or under, and they're scattered out throughout the city. So you don't have this huge hunk of transient population in one area. And so I think that's helped our crime statistics and whatever, because there's not a whole bunch of people feeding off of each other, living like that, where I don't care because it's not my, I don't live here, I'm just renting. And so I think, we've approached is particularly, rental housing in that particular focus. And I think that's been much better for our town than what Puyallup has done. Cause
Four plexes like George Green.
those are gorgeous.
Beautiful example. They did a great job in accomplishing more affordable housing that they were a very good addition to the city. So, but I'm sure that this issue is not going to go away from my commission in the future. And as we look at, where we're going to grow, it probably be in Bill.
Yeah.
What we have, so.
Yep.
Infill, smaller square footage, 0 lot lines.
That's because Olympia wants us to look like the rest of them, and ruin our town.
Well, we'll never have apartment complexes here.
There's no place to put them.
Well, we don't have the transportation infrastructure to support that.
That's right.
I just think, I look at, there's a lot of rentals in town, and, there are rental houses, but as far as apartment buildings, we have, there's 2 triplexes right down from the gas station now.
Got, D&D Construction's got apartments.
They've got 4,
And they're pretty
4,
nice.
yeah, they got 4 apartments above their building. The, Kitchens has them on the end of, Erickson. Yeah, Erickson Lane, is that right? That doesn't sound right. Kensington. Kitchens has got, 3 or 4 of those big duplexes down there. Silver Lane's got duplexes. To me, that's the way to go, separate it out so that people don't feel like they've been, encroached on by a giant apartment complex. So, yeah, well, we'll see. Our big thing now, I know the Olympia is pushing us, to have a percentage of, and to me, that's all just numbers. That doesn't have anything to do with our town at all. You're not helping us. You're not, solving any problems for us. You're just adding numbers to the bottom of your list. I'm not impressed.
Job incorporating that at the ER and the shared mixed-use town center. That's creative solutions to bring housing downtown. So
Yeah, I like that. I think that's really cool. I was having the guy pumping propane on my motorhome last summer, and it was so funny. He said, I really like living here. And I said, where do you live? He said, right there. So he said, I'm never late to work.
We appreciate your being here, by the way.
Yes, Scott, we do appreciate it. It's been a long time since we saw a mayor. It's been a long time since we saw a mayor here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Madam Chair.
Yep.
Agenda.
I think we've set the agenda. Oh, are you doing our secretarial work? Who is? No.
No, I'm not.
Contact. I know I sent you this morning, but I didn't know who to contact.
Well,
That's okay. I can shepherd it to the right person. I think that we're bobbing and weaving for another month or 2.
yeah. I do need to back things up. One question that I
Oh.
did note that I missed on my notes here. Connex boxes in town, shipping containers,
Shipping. Okay.
not supposed to be, right?
No.
Correct.
Well, there is one.
Really? Where?
It's off of Calistoga. What's the street to the west of Kansas? It's north of Calistoga. It's an old house that sits and it's got a bunch of cars in it.
Oh, that's Wang's property, isn't it? Is that
Mhm.
Wang, yeah.
I think the name
There's a
of it
container?
starts with D. If I had a map, I could. Deeded,
Oh,
yep.
did it? Yeah.
And right behind it, right behind the house, he's got a shipping container, and it's painted a dark color, a dark green or a black, so it's real hard to see. But no, that's across the street from him.
You're on Calistoga across from Deeded. Is that what you're saying?
No,
Or you're going
if you're
down-
on Calistoga,
Yes.
and you're coming into town from the Soldiers' Home,
Okay.
if you look on Deeded, there's an old house and he's got a couple of old cars in the driveway.
Oh, yeah, I know which one.
Right. And right behind that house, there is a shipping container.
Isn't that where those duplexes are?
No,
built?
no, this is old. It's,
No, I mean, there is a corner house there, but I didn't think there was anything behind that.
yeah, the house itself sets back and it's got a bunch of old cars and stuff in the front,
Wow.
but behind the house is a shipping container.
Wow. Okay. We'll have to ask our not secretary to tell whoever needs to be told to go by and check that out, because they're not supposed to have that. Yeah.
It's on the north side of Calistoga.
Yeah.
I'll bring that to the code enforcement.
Yeah, yeah, we straightened our code out because the code wasn't good. It was really, it said one thing and said something else in a different place. And so it implied that you could have a shipping container if you had more than 5 acres of land. Well, nobody in town has 5 acres of land. So we took all that out. You can't have a shipping container in town at all.
It's been there for quite a while. Yep,
Okay,
you
yeah.
can see it. It's a 40-foot shipping container. And he's got it painted so that it's really hard to see. And he parked stuff in front of it so you can't. But as you come into town from the old Soldiers' Home, as you're approaching Deeded, look
Look down, Deeded, or
look,
before you get down.
look at the old house and you'll see right behind it a 40-foot shipping container.
Yeah, if somebody, send the enforcer out there and look at that. And I don't think that any of those lots are 5 acres. No, I don't think there's any lot in town's 5 acres. So yeah, we cleaned that language up last time we did that. So yeah, you can't do that.
It's been there for at least 4 years.
Bunch of old cars on the shelf.
Oh yeah, it's obvious that it's been there for a while.
Maybe Mr. Hannell moved over there. Never mind, private joke.
Speaking of that area, one last thing on yes, do we have any update on the White Hawk Boulevard? Southwest? Yeah.
You know, there's been some work on design and engineering. There isn't any money really behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're wrapped up. We're wrapped up with NEPA and the environmental permitting aspect of it. I recall it's been a number of months since there was any push on that project. I'm not really sure what we're waiting on
We don't
right
have
now
any
with that.
funding for it, do we?
I would need to check in with Ryan and see.
Oh.
That's right. Yeah.
Did we ever, I mean, it's supposed to come up to Kansas, correct? Yeah.
getting that moving forward, but, I'll see Dustin answers on the Southwest Connector. The funding, like it's basically, funding with those two big things, get funding for it. And we have the land acquisition portion.
That would be a public meeting for the council, correct?
Well, there's already been several along with petitions.
I just don't want to
Well,
hear.
it's where the biggest one is gonna be the intersection of S-162 and White Hawk.
Right.
Because you also have the school that's going in, there'll be a roundabout that location. So, phasing the project through,
Yeah.
it's gonna be really key for things forward.
That's gonna be interesting, because right there at White Hawk, I see, I'll be sitting in the traffic to wait, for the lights. And you see people peeling off and going, and they're just going through White Hawk and going around the streets to get out of there. But, depends on how long the line is.
Well, getting out of White Hawk onto 162 is an
But
absolute nightmare.
Oh, yeah, no, I would never turn left out of there. But yeah, that, I don't, and I wonder, once they put that roundabout, how many people are just gonna be just turning right and keep right on going through White Hawk? Hopefully, by the time we do something like that, we'll have the boulevard all the way through.
This way, and some of us remember it's, conceptual ideas coming, actually, go back to the White Hawk plan, that was the original plan.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's been in the works for many years, but at least now we're in a tenure. Conservatives that we're in a tenure. Great to see it.
I really don't hold my breath on any. I still have paperwork in my files for 176 coming down here.
How long it took to get Kansas Street started.
Yeah, it's hard. And that's one of the things I feel bad, because we get a lot of bad heat on the blotter. And I never comment. I read a lot of them just to see where take the temperature, see what's going on out there. And I feel bad because a lot of people, you can tell, do not understand what's going on. We get a lot of complaints about, the bridge to nowhere. And I'm going, all right, first off, the money couldn't be spent anywhere else. It was money for this bridge for this particular reason. And so you can't say that. I don't say anything on there because I'm not going to get into an argument with people on there.
Madam Chair, before you
We gotta
start
go.
arguing
No.
about anything else,
Done.
it's
You're joining.
8:59.
Nope.
So,
We're done.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
and I will second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? You're staying. I'm going home. That's why I stay on.